Hi guys, this is Grillo Adedayo, and I want to thank you guys for viewing my last video. Uh, I I'm very grateful because I got a quite a large number of views and comments and and based on my promise that I'm going to be introducing us once in my video to the UI of Blender, that's the user interface of Blender. I think today I'm going to be fulfilling that promise. Um, well, we're not going to be doing much. This video is going to be shared into series. I think this is the part one of the series. And in the part one, which is what we are doing now, we are just going to be talking about the object view or the object mode in Blender. Um, okay, first of all, we want to open our Blender software. Okay, which is what I'm doing. It's gonna take time to load a little bit. Okay, after we have opened the software, want to start a new file. These are the works I've done recently, but we'll just click on the space around it and it gives you a new file. This um this face you can see around there is what we call our scene. And on our scene is made up of um three, or let's say four objects. We have the default mesh cube, we have the camera, and we have the lamp. And okay, we also have the grid floor object. That's the grid you can see on the floor, that shows the movement or the axis. I think I explained what axis is in my last video. Okay, let me do that again. Blender, or I would say many 3D software, works or move objects with axis, which I think it's also relates to um, um, our to real life. And so we have the y-axis or the x-axis, which is what I'm moving my object on, and the y-axis, then we have the z-axis. Okay, um to zoom in your object, you are going to be using the middle button of your mouse to zoom in. I'm using a mouse, so you can see I can zoom in with the middle button. I roll it in, I roll it out. Yeah, okay. Honestly, opening Blender, at first you might be very discouraged because of the UI looks very non-appealing, let me put it that way, and complicated. And um it looks like, oh god, when am I going to learn this? But nevertheless, it's quite fun to work with Blender, and it's very, very interesting. In fact, you are going to learn a lot in a little space of time if you concentrate or you keep practicing. um, there's no limit. There's no limit for you while learning. You can learn and keep learning and keep on learning. Okay, so like I said, we are going to deal with only the object mode today. In this part of the video, we have texture paint mode, we have the weight paint, we have the vertex paint, we have the sculpt mode, edit mode, and object mode. All these are very important. For they are very important aspect of Blender or 3D softwares. But most of the times I do not use most of them. I do not use something like the vertex paint. I don't really use the vertex paint, but I think I use the texture paint a lot. Weight paint once in a while. I think I've done that once in a while. Okay, so that's that for that. I'll be starting by explaining from this place. This tool you can see here, this is our toolbars, or let me put it, yeah, this is like the toolbars of Blender, where everything you want to do is placed here. We have another one over here. To open this, the shortcut is N. Just click on your keyboard N, you bring it out. And okay, oh, let me turn on my screencast too. Okay, to turn on my screencast display, I click N. What the screencast display actually does is that it displays everything I'm doing, the keys I'm pressing at this side of the screen. um but the problem I'm having is my Blender, I don't know if we are also facing that problem, does not have doesn't come with the screencast tool option. And um the I've tried going to the file user preference to see if it's there and to set it, but it's still the same problem. I'm not getting it over there. I can't find it. If I search screen um, cast, it's not showing, so I cannot enable it. So what I do is I just learned this fast trick, and I think you can also learn it too if you don't have it. I go to my editor type. I go to text editor. I'm going to share the link in which I used to download um, the uh, the text or the script that I imported into Blender for my screencast. So we can also download it if we don't have. So I will share the link later. I go to, what did I say? Okay, I saved it on my desktop. Okay. Okay, this is it. So I click on it, open test block, and run script. Okay, sorry, that's a mistake. Open test block, run script. Okay, then I go back to my 3D view port. Then I go to this option, this tool here, and you see screencast turns on. Then I start display. So any key I'm going to press is going to be showing here. So if I'm too fast, you can follow up by checking this side of this. Okay, anything I'm pressing, you have to check it. If I'm too fast, you check this side. You are going to see what I press. For example, if I press N, you see it shows the N. If I press, okay, no problem. Okay, I want to close this tab by clicking N there. And so what we are going to be doing today, like I said, is learning the basic uh, basic or how to manipulate objects in the object mode without having to go to edit and other modes. This works especially when you are working only with shapes, and sometimes when you are working with shape, you don't need to start going to other modes to edit your object. So let's see what we are going to. Okay, before I go on, let me explain some of the tools on the UI that we can find. This side, this side that you can see, minus 4020 playback and things like that, works when you are making an animation or an animation scene. It is where you edit your video and you give the video a number of frames and things like that. But we are not going to be working with that for now. um this side that you can see that I clicked on is the place where you choose your editor type. Now we are presently on the 3D view. um we Mostly what we use is the UV image editor. We use node editor. That will be, I'll explain what node editor does in another video. Text editor, I just did that. Logic editor, properties. Okay, properties, it is here already. Properties are actually there are modifiers. They are the place where you can find your modifiers, your texture, your particles, your rendering access, the noising and things like that, that you can use to manipulate or affect your objects in the scene. And outliner is where a place where you see like a layer, or let's say they are like layer where you see what you have placed into your scene. You see my cube is in the scene, the lamp is in the scene, camera, and the word. The word is the ash, or let's say gray color that you can see around, that looks like a void um presently in your scene. Okay, so what else? Um Layers. Okay, Blender also work with layers. This place that you can see are my layer. This is layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and so on. So if I want to move from layers, I can click my object. Okay, let me use that time to explain this too. This place is where you manipulate your object. When you click your object, you come here, object, um transform. I want to move it to another layer, transform. Then I um Let me see. Change layer. It's not here. It's not that transform. Let's see. Okay, move to layer. You see that the shortcut is M. I won't be able to touch every part of it. I'm just going to explain what it does, so you can just experiment with your Blender software when you have time. So I click M, move to click on layer 2. You can find out that my object is no more on my layer 1 scene. So to go to my object, I go to layer 2. You see, it's on my layer 2. Now I press the shortcut back, M, move to layer 1. Then my object goes back to layer 1. You can see that's what happens. Okay, so what else? View. Very good. This is how this is the option you use to view your objects, um like to view them from different angles. You can see, just like their name implies, you understand by um as their name implies, you understand what they mean. But let me work with this. If I say I view from the left, you see it takes me to the left of my object, left view. Right takes me to right view. Front takes me to the front view. Then view from top, I see it from the top. And so you understand the meaning of this. Okay, lastly, orthographic view. Orthographic view is kind of like a 2D view in Blender, in a 3D software, and you can view your objects like 2D. Okay, let me use the shortcut. Notice the shortcut here. Instead of going, you see 3 number pad, notice it, you have to work with a number pad, and you can actually change that in your user preference, but I'm not going to be talking about that for now. Since I already have a number pad, that's if you are using a keyboard, it might not work for you. Your number pad might not work. You have to get, if you are using a laptop keyboard, sorry, the number pad might not work. You have to get a keyboard to attach to your laptop. So one, I want to look, pardon me, that I think one is for the side view. So I'm seeing from one of the side view, but the reason why I can't see it in the round is because I'm in orthographic view presently. So orthographic view make us see our object in a 2D way. So if I click 5 to go out of orthographic view, I can now see my object in the round. That's perspective view. So I'm coming. What else? What else? Okay, let's see. Object. What did I want to do now? Okay, I want to move my object. I want to play with my object. I go to transform. Now look at G, that's shortcut. I'm going to be working with shortcuts, but I'm just going to explain what it means so you will know where they are. G is for grab and move your grab and to move your object. R is to rotate your object. Scaling your object means to whether to make it big, small, and that kind of thing. Control S is to turn your object to a sphere. I will show you what a sphere is. Bend, push, all this. I don't really use that. Mostly to texture space, scale, texture space. I don't really use that. Okay, another important stuff. Geometry to origin. Origin. What is your origin? Your origin is this. Okay, see this that are moving around. This reddish, red and white with black object are moving around. That is what our origin is. And our origin, when you first open your Blender scene, is always placed at the center of your grid lock, and this is where objects are placed when you place your object. So for example, if I put my origin here and I place an object, to place object, Shift A, look at that. Okay, Shift A, look at my screen cast space. I place a mesh object, and I place maybe a cube. You see what happens? My cube is placed there, which I might not like. So to centralize, if you make a mistake to bring it here, to centralize it back, you press Shift C, and it goes back there. Or better still, you come to object, transform, and you take it back, origin to center of mass. Select object, transform, okay, then you transform it there. What else? Okay, the
Okay.
shift. Yeah. So this place that we are seeing add, this place simply means where we add our objects to the scene. We can add a mesh object, we can add a curve object, we can add a surface object, meatball, text, amateur, latex, and so on. I'm not going to be touching most of them. I'm just going to explain what they do. The curve objects, this is objects that are used to make curves. Like if you are making a wire in your scene, or you are making maybe a snake or something curvy, you have to use the curve object to make something like that. The surface object, I don't really know what it means, but I've not explored it to that extent, but I tried it once. I think it's just an object that you use to make surfaces on your mesh, like maybe a plane surfaces where your object can rest on. Meatball object, it is an object that makes balls of meshes, like they are soft, like very soft meshes, compared to that of normal mesh. They are still meshes, but they are very soft, and they look like they are floppy and things like that. So I guess they use that, or I used that once to make a snow like object. um Latex, amateur, sorry, no, okay, the text object actually is what you use to write text in Blender. Used to write text in Blender, you can use it to write text. I'm going to explore that maybe before I finish this video. The amateur mesh is quite is used mostly when you are making rigging, when you are doing rig, and it's for animation and things like that. The latex object, this is used to make um to create a coil on an object, like if you are making a cupcake on ice cream, or an ice cream, you can use the latex object to make it that coil. You know that a cupcake and ice cream looks at the eyes, it feels like the thing is coiling around it, so you make that kind of effect with this. um I've never used this. I don't know what it actually does, so I skip that. The speaker is actually used in animation. This is you when you place it on your scene, this is where you add the audios and things like that. The camera, this is what I explained on the scene. This is what you use to render your object, or the way you can see your object. It's what takes record of the way you see your object. The lamp is what gives light to your scene. Force feed is also used for animation, like wind. You can see all the force, smoke flow and everything. It is what used to give your objects like an animation. Like if you put wind now and you make a grass on the scene, it's sorry, the wind blows the grass, you understand, but it's mostly used for animation. Group instance, I don't really know what it is. I have not used it. So that's that for this add. So to use a shortcut, if you want to add meshes, the shortcut is Shift A. I'm going to actually drop the link to download, where you can download a PDF on using shortcut on Blender 2.9. So I advise you learn a lot of shortcuts, because it's not every time you can be going to the tools to be selecting. I don't actually use the tools most of the time, but for the sake of beginners, I will have to be using the tools once in a while. So like I said, if I'm too fast, you can see my screencast too. The screencast display, you can check what I'm doing there. So Shift A to add objects. We are going to be working with mesh objects today. So we are going to manipulate our object with we are going to make a scene. Sorry, we are going to make a scene with just object mode, and we are going to just work with meshes. So this might not be the default. This is not actually the default display for your meshes. Yeah, because I've added some new things to it, like new add-ons in the user preference. But I guess from the monkey to the plane, these are the defaults you find there. So we are going to be using all the defaults to make a scene. We are going to start with the plane, cube, all of them. So what I do is I click on the plane. The plane is already in my scene. Let's delete the cube. X to delete, or like I said, you press on it, go to object, transform, and delete. Have you seen delete? So okay, scale, we have to scale. Let's scale this. This will serve as our plane, where our object is going to sit on, as a plane where our object is going to sit on. Let's just make it, since we are not working. So what I want to do is I want to make a scene of shape. And okay, since I'm not going to edit mode, we are going to be doing something funny. I'm going to tell you why it's kind of funny when we start working on edit mode. So what we will add next is Shift A. We are going to add another mesh. Let's add a monkey head. This is actually a kind of object that a mesh that they did in Blender for monkey head. So we are going to scale this on the Z axis. Oh, sorry, on the Z axis scale to make it look alright. Okay, let's scale it down small. It's kind of too big. Sorry. To move your scene, you have to hold down your middle mouse button, then you hold down your middle mouse button to see around, go around your scene. So let's just place this here for now. We are just doing, you can have fun with this however you want. Okay, shift A. Let's add another one. We have added the monkey. The grid, we don't need the grid. The grid is that stuff on the floor. We already have a grid. Let's add the torus. What can the torus do? Okay, let's have fun with this by placing our torus in. Let's view our torus. So I'll come here to view only the torus. View selected. You can see the torus now clearly. So let's place our torus around our monkey's neck, something like this. Just have fun with it. Okay, something like this. To smoothen our object, we are going to talk about that. Okay, let's just make our scene mesh. Let's add another object. Let's add let's add a cube. We have not added a cube to our scene. Let's add a cube to our scene. Okay, let's scale this down a little bit. Sorry. Okay, that's just fine. Let's add another object, mesh. Let's add we don't need a circle. Okay, it's still like a cylinder, so we don't need that. Let's add a UV sphere into our scene. We add a UV sphere into our scene. So let's bring it. What can we do with this? Let's put our UV sphere on our cube. On our cube. So we put it on the cube and scale it down. Let's scale it down so it looks proportional, and not because it can't be too big. The cube has to hold it, but you can do it however you want. But I'm just working with principles of art. So shift A. Principle of art, when I say that, I mean balance. That's to balance it up. I don't want to exaggerate. Okay, let's add the icosphere. This is also like the UV sphere, but it's quite bumpy around. So where do we place that? Let's just place that around here and scale it down. S to scale, don't forget that. Let's place it here. Sorry, my bad. Let's add another object. Let's see, cylinder. What should we do with the cylinder? Okay, I can actually put my icosphere on the cylinder. So scale. Let's scale on the Z axis. Scale Z, so it looks alright. Bring it around there and click this. You can bring this to the top of this scale. Now I want to join these two objects. So when I move here, I'll move them as one. So what I do is either I hold shift, I click, then I hold shift down to click to move the two of them together. You can see, check my screencast display, or I click on the two of them and hold shift, then Ctrl J to join object, Ctrl J to join object. When you want to see that, you can just come here, object, join. You are going to see join, Ctrl J. So I've used that. So now they are one object. So let's try that for these two. Never mind. Let's deselect this. To deselect this, Ctrl Z to select, or better still if you can actually go to edit mode to deselect them, but I'm not going to do that for now since we are working with only object mode. So okay, let's just move them by holding shift down and clicking together. Sorry. Okay. um sorry. I think something's wrong. Okay. um okay, my power went off. Let's add another object. Shift A, mesh. Let's see what object can we add. What remains? We have not added a cone. That's the last object on the scene. So where can we attach our cone? Let's see. Pardon me. Let's attach our cone around here. Okay, I'll scale it down. Oh, I got an idea. Let's give our monkey a kind of art like appearance. Okay, let's attach our cone here. View object. Okay. Okay, now our monkey is going to be wearing a hat. He's going to be wearing a hat. Okay, now what else? We have successfully set up a scene, but I want the scene to look like it's in a room. So what we have to do now is we can actually do this in edit mode, but I'm not going to work on edit mode for now. So we press shift A and add another plane, or we click on our former plane and press shift D to duplicate. So when you duplicate, you see I've duplicated it. Now I'm going to rotate it, arrow to rotate on the y-axis 90 degree. I click 90. You can press 90. Arrow to rotate, y-axis then 90. Press 90 on your pad. So let's put this around there. Okay, then shift D again, arrow to rotate on the Z 90. Scale X. Okay, there's easier way to do this through the edit mode, but we are just going to work with our object mode. Okay, what are materials? Let's start explaining this. I will start explaining this by using this time to explain the outliner. Sorry, the what is it called again? That skipped my mind. Let me check. The properties tab. So first of all, okay, let's keep this for later because we are going to use this. This one to keep it for later. This one is where you manipulate your scene, like it shows the object and the properties of the objects that are in your scene. If I click on, because if I click on this is where I can edit the size, the location and things like that on my scene. Yeah, this is where you edit your word. That's hash stuff I told you around here. This is where you give it colors and things like that. We want to switch to Cycles engine, because Cycles engine is more updated than Blender engine, and so it gives a perfect rendered work than that of Blender engine. I will advise you to always work with Cycles rendering. So okay, yeah, this is the object. Okay, it's just like the scene. Actually, the scene works by editing the whole scene, but this works by editing an object. I'm on a cylinder object, that's why it's showing cylinder here. If I click my monkey, it shows my monkey object here. If I click this, it shows my cone. So now I can rotate my cone through here. You can see what is happening to my cone. Okay, let me show you a clear view. View selected. You can see what is happening to my cone. To undo this, you press escape, or after doing it, press Ctrl Z. Location, I can shift the location through here, so you can update your object through here. But if you know shortcut, you don't need to come here. So constraint, add object constraint. I don't really know what this does. I've never used it. So we come here to add this place is to add modifiers. What modifiers are is they are actually um how will I put it, actually features that are used to just like the name implies, modify your object, in the sense to add some simulation. You can add simulation to your object, like cloth simulation, collision simulation, and these they are very fun to use. You can deform your object with these modifiers, this one that you can find there, the lattice, the wrap, the everything. Then you can generate um things to your object, like generating um a solidifier modifier. If I click on this, what it does is it thickens my object. Let me click on that with this add modifier, solidifier modifier. It thickens my object. You see what happens to my object. You can see how it thickens it. It thickens my object. So that's for that. Escape. um that's what basically modifiers do. You learn on what they do and why you move on in Blender. It's your experience on Blender. You'll be using them based on what you want to do. The other very important one is the subdivision modifier. Notice what happens to my object. Let me view my object. You come here, view, um view object, view selected. Sorry, you see what happens to my tools. Okay, if I increase it, you see how it's getting smooth and getting more detailed. What this does, that it adds more. There are things we call that. I will explain that in the edit mode, not now, but there are things we call vertex, or that we call your edge flow. It adds more vertex to your object, and so your object becomes more realistic and more smooth. Let me put it that way. Now what we are going to be doing, you can see that our object is a lot bumpy and everything. We could have used the solidifier modifier, but since it's a simple tutorial, what we are just going to do is to shift, hold down shift, click on all our objects, and simply smoothing it out by coming to this part. And okay, sorry, where is the smooth option? Let me go back to tools. Okay, and smoothing it out. Now we have succeeded in smoothing our object. You can see they are already smooth, unlike before. If I Ctrl Z, you see they are bumpy, so smoothing it out unlike before. So now that's that for okay. As we go on, okay, I don't know what this does actually, this modifier. But okay, I know what it does. Oh, sorry, this modifier actually, when you okay, when you or this property, when you add a modifier to your scene, modifiers are only they only show in your object mode, but that will be more explained when we reach edit mode. But when you click on this is called clipping. When you clip your object, it actually shows in, you allow the object to show in your edit mode viewport, like the you allow the modifier, sorry, that you have added to the object show in your edit mode. So okay, now this is where you add materials to your object. What are materials? Materials are basically the colors, or basically the colors that you add to your objects, like red, green, and things like that. And you can have different kind of materials, or materials texture that you add. You can add a glassy texture. You can add a that makes your you can add a glassy that makes your object glass. We experiment with this, a principled, which is a new material system that was brought into Blender 2.79. That is I use a principal material a lot. Let me see, add new principal shader. Sorry, those are shaders. I use the principal shader a lot, and to add materials to my object, and they make my object look realistic, and many things like that. So that is that for materials. Texture draw. It is where you add texture to your materials or to your object. And materials and object at the same time, because textures, for example, if I'm making a tree, if I'm trying to create a tree, I can simply add the material of brown on my tree, but this would make my tree still flat. It won't look like a real tree, in the sense that it just look like, okay, my tree is just flat. It doesn't have a texture, and everything in this world has a texture. No matter how smooth it is, it has a texture. So this, for that tree now, you have to download textures. I will post a link where you can download texture. You can either download from Polygon, or you download from textures.com. Those are the website I recommend and download a lot from. So I'll put a link in the video to download textures when we start working with it though, because we are not yet going to start working with textures. So that's that for textures. Lastly, if you want to add the texture of the tree after downloading, once you put the texture on your material, your texture shows on the material, so it makes the tree look real. You can see the breakage, the backs of the tree on the material depending on the kind of textures that you downloaded. So this place is where you add your particles into your scene. Particles are like, they are used for animation mostly. Those are the modifiers like that you can find there. These modifiers, let me show you. Simulations modifier, those are particles. Those are the particles that you can add to your object. Emitter, sorry. Okay, this is particle actually. This is my particle where you add force field and things like that. But this is what we call also I'm sorry, I'm making a mistake. Let me see. This is the simulations. Sorry, these are where you add simulations, but here is where you add your particles. I'm sorry for that. Your particles, the emitter particles or the air particles. We'll learn more on that, not for now. Okay, now what we are going to be doing is adding materials to our scene. We are going to click the object I want to add. New material. I want to make this object glassy, so I go here and add a glassy shader. Okay, I leave it at white. I come here, I want to make this principled. I want to work with principled, so I come here, click. What color can we give it? Let's give it red. Good. I'm working with only primary colors. So new, I want to make this diffuse. Diffuse, what happens in diffuse, that light cannot penetrate through your object, but in principle the light cannot penetrate though, but the object reflects the light that is coming around it. I think Andrew Price, if you watch his video that was speaking of Fresnel, I think he explained that very well. So you can just check Fresnel explained by Andrew Price. You understand me how to what principled shader actually does. I don't know how to explain that very well. I'm not so good in explaining things like to that extent. So, but I know the theory of what it does. So you can just check his video out. Okay, so if I click on this, I want to change this to diffuse but yellow this time around. Okay, then the art of my new, let's make this a transparent one. Let's make it a transparent shader. I'm just working with different shaders. I'm just trying to have fun. For this, let's make it a glossy shader. Let's make it green. No, that's not primary. Blue is primary. Then this, let's make this new. Let's leave it at white. Diffuse. This new, let's make it refraction. But this is going to increase our rendering time, but let's put it refraction. What refraction actually does is, it's what we use to create shining objects like diamonds and things like that. But we have to mix. That's where we'll talk about the node editor, maybe if I have time. That is where we mix different shaders together. We have to mix shaders to get the perfect refraction that we want. So let's leave our refraction at green. Okay, now for our plane, let's give our plane a bluish color, a light blue. For our wall, let's give our let's leave our plane on brown, so it looks like the actual floor, a dark brown. Or better still, let's leave, okay, yeah, let's leave it on ash. The wall now, we can now give this a light blue. Let's give this a light blue, very light blue. So now what we want to add is our light. We want to add a light to the scene. So that's the next step. And this is our lamp. It's our lamp that actually creates the light to our scene. It's the lamp that creates the light to the scene. So we are, as we click okay. So like I was saying, we can either use point. What point actually does, okay, let me see, rotate. point directs the light to our objects, directly to our object. Because okay, for example, let me think of a point, a torchlight. That is, a torchlight is an example of a point light system. It points, or it directs the light directly. It can only go through the front, it can't go through the side, because it has been it has been embedded, or it has been covered around, so it can only reflect to your object through the front. So that's why it's called the point. Then the sun, just like what sun implies, this is like real time, or in the real world, it reflects on your object from every side. The sun, that's what the sun does. Sports, if we are used to cinemas and plays, that's drama. If we know the lighting they use, that is what they call the spot. It's spot on, it comes out like a spot on the object. Now Emmy, um Emmy is also like a sun, but the difference between Emmy and a sun is that the closer you bring your sun to your object, it can be so bright. The sun is so bright than the Emmy. I think that's just it. I don't know. Area to same thing like the sun, almost like the sun. I use the area a lot most of the time if I want to keep my light stable, not too bright and not too. But for now, let's see which one should we use. Let's use the the area. Let's leave it as area. Use node. Let's increase this small to, let's leave it as default. Take it back to default. To take it back to default, right click, then reset to default. Okay, so let me see, let's set our light to around here. It's to make it interesting. Let's bring our light to around here. Okay, so the shadow is going to be casted to that side. I don't want to render this. You can actually see what you have done by clicking on rendered. When you click on rendered, you see what you have done. If you click on material, you see the colors that you have placed on it, but not really rendered. Then texture, you see the texture you have played. We are on solid. Wireframe, it takes you, let me show you wireframe. Z for wireframe. See what happens. You see objects are actually built in 3D with only wireframes. Objects are made up of different vertices, which are also known as wireframes of your object. You can see my object, they are made with wireframes. So that's for wireframe. Bonding box, I don't really use bonding box. I don't know what it does, but I don't really understand what that does. So okay, sorry, let's bring this closer. It seems off. Okay, I think, what else should we add? Camera, very good. Now I want to teach us how to manipulate our camera. So to use our camera, we come here, and camera with the shortcut is numpad 0. So this is where our camera is set as default. So we want to set our camera to the view we want. If you just hold your middle mouse button and move, you see that you move out of the camera view. So to stay in the camera view while moving to your desired angle, you click on N. It brings out this option. Then I'm coming, lock camera to view. Then after that, click on N to disable this. 0 to see through the camera. Then now when I move, you observe that my camera moves with it, and I can move easily to my desired view. To move without turning your camera like this, without turning your view, you just hit shift, hold shift down, then your middle mouse button, hold it down, then you can move up, move down without changing your view. Yeah, so let me scale this. Okay, so I can bring this back a little bit. Scale X. Okay, sorry, scale Y. Okay, so that's that for that. To move your camera through while seeing through the view, press shift F, I guess. Okay, shift F. Yeah, A to move right, left, D right, W to zoom in, X, is it X, S to zoom out. Yeah, or you can actually use your diagonal keys on your movement keys on your numpad on your keyboard. You see, up arrow, down, the arrows there, the up arrow, the side arrow, down arrow to move. So that's that for that. I want to turn the view. I want to see it like this. Okay. I want to reduce. You can set your camera lens. I want to change the lens to focal length to 100. Very good. Okay, then I want to change. Okay, I leave it like this. To look move out of your camera view, press 0. Now what we are going to be doing lastly is to talk about this. This is where you set your option to render your image. If you want to, or your animation, render your image, render your animation, render your audio. Maybe when you use your speaker to render your audio. I want to change this to GPU, but you might not have a selection for GPU. You can also leave it at CPU, but GPU is more, it deals with your, it works with your processor or your graphics card, sorry. So I want to change my image resolution to 100%. Then I'll leave all this at default. Then sampling, what sampling does is, it's the more sampling you give your object, the more render sampling you give your object, the more your object looks better and 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 beautiful. But the problem is, the amount of sampling you give to your object determines the render time that you have. Render time means the time it used to render. Like when you click render up here, when you click render, I'll show you the time it used to render. So I'm just going to leave this sampling at 50, because it's just a practice work at 50. But you can take it anyhow you want, depending on how strong your system is, or the system you are using. Next I want to go to this layer, render layer, and click on denoising. What denoising does is, if I use a sampling of 50. Okay, I would like to show us images, but maybe we can check that out by ourselves. You will find out that when you render, sometimes in your image you see some noise around the image. Like, you see, when you zoom in, you see some kind of scattering noise and everything. What the noise actually does is to remove the noises in your image. So before they invented denoising in Blender, we to render, we have to take our sampling to around 1000, 2000 to make it clear, to make our image clear. But now I can actually render on a 50 sampling, and yet after clicking on denoising, my image is clear enough, that it's clear enough for me to see. So I click on denoising. You have to enable it. Let me increase my sampling. To 100. Let's increase it to 100, just for clarity's sake, to 100. Okay. Then okay. Lastly, before we render, let's change our world. Oh, the light. I noticed something. Our light. Use node. Let's see. Um. Okay. For the lamp. Okay. One. If this is on 0, you have to increase it. But I will show you. You increase it to your desired to the desired level you want to leave your light. So let's work on the word. Click on this word. The word is ash, which will dull our scene. You can actually leave it if you are making a nice scene or something. But I want to make it a bright sky blue, so it's brightening up my scene. Let me leave it here because of the light that I've added to the scene. Let's leave it like this. Okay, so you can actually view what you have done. In the Let me try to view it. Let's see if this will work. Let's see. Render. By rendering it, you see what you have done. I take it back to solid. That's what we have done. I don't want to view it because presently I'm doing a large work on my. I'm rendering something at the same time. as I'm doing this tutorial, and I wouldn't want what I'm rendering to stop, because the processor is going to affect the processor of the system. um, Something about 3D software is they use a lot of part of your processor, or your RAM, and so doing a lot of work at the same time can actually affect your system. So that is why I'm not letting us see the um, rendered in render view, but it's best you view from render to see how your light is set and to correct a lot of things. But you can do that on your own. I'm not going to be doing that. So what we are going to be doing next, okay, I think camera, take it back to your camera view. Then we are going to be I changed the material of the cone to emission. I just wanted to experiment. Emission actually is a shader that we use to bring light into our scene. Emission brings out light, so that's why I changed it to emission white, to just experiment. So if I'm changing it to emission white, let me reduce the word, because it brings light to our scene. So okay, very good. Now we are going to go back to this snap here, click on render, and after rendering, I'm going to render it out, then show you the result. When you click on render, it's going to start rendering in boxes. Then I don't want to do that now. I'm just going to show you the result after what I'm doing is going to has stopped.